Get some initial reaction. Let's go to Mukbar Singh, Vice President of the World Sikh Organization of Canada, joins us from Ottawa. Mukbar, what do you think this would mean for Quebecers, especially Sikh Quebecers who wear the turban, such as yourself, if this kind of charter was to come into effect?
Well, it would affect them. I think it would be a clear violation of their rights, in my opinion. If you're training to be a lawyer your whole life, and you hear this new legislation now being developed to stop you from practicing, I think that would be devastating. And the same goes for anybody that's working in government institutions at this moment. They would be immediately affected.
What do you make of this Charter of Values? I mean, does it reflect your values?
Oh, absolutely not. I think it's completely unnecessary in Quebec. I think freedom of religion, freedom to express your religion, it's one of the most important pillars of a democratic society. And for us to begin restricting individuals' rights here, I think it's a slippery slope.
Turbans have been a source of debate in Quebec in the past, elsewhere in this country as well, it's, I think, fair to say. What is your take on that? I mean, do you think there's a larger issue going on here?
Well, Todd, I think if you began analyzing the application of this legislation, it quickly breaks down. I mean, you can begin with the turban. Sikhs, it's one of the most first identifying aspects of a Sikh, so male or female. So if a Sikh were to take off their turban, you can clearly look at me. I also have a long, flowing beard. Would I be restricted in terms of what I'm allowed to portray as a Sikh? It's clearly an expression of my own philosophy and religion. Would the government of Quebec then be restricting how long an individual's beard be then? I think when you actually begin analyzing the application of this legislation, it quickly breaks down in many aspects.
Mukbar, what do you say to those, though, who support the Charter, arguing that the Charter could actually bring Quebec together?
Sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry?
What do you say to those who support it and say that this could actually have a positive effect and that it could bring Quebec together?
Well, I think a lot of these philosophies and religions, the Sikh community, the Jewish community, these are relatively young communities in Quebec. A lot of the population in Quebec hasn't been exposed to individuals wearing turbans or kippas or hijabs, and there's a natural defense there against these. Against observing anybody looking different. So I think if you give it time, if you go in more into the metropolitan areas in Montreal, we don't see that trend as much as it is outside of those areas.
Absolutely, but as in many places in this country, you know, Montreal is one very small part of Quebec and does not reflect the majority of the opinions in the province of Quebec, because the majority of people don't live in Montreal. You probably remember, Mukbar, the big uproar over the kirpan, the Sikh ceremonial dagger in the province of Quebec. A couple of years back, people were outraged that a boy was being allowed to bring one of these ceremonial daggers to school. It led to a court case, very high profile within the province itself. There are those who just say we don't want to see religion in society. They are hardcore secularists, and they feel that whether it's the turban or the kippah or the hijab, it's a sign of religion, and they want religion to be out of society. I mean, is that realistic?
Well, I think our Charter of Human Rights here in Quebec does protect these rights of individuals, whether they're minorities. I think the question that needs to be asked is, do we want to restrict our citizens of Quebec's philosophies here? Are we restricting what type of clothes they can wear and what type of beliefs they can have? Because naturally, people will have to make certain decisions at a certain point. Individuals that would be working in the health institutions or in government, they would have to make these decisions between their own personal beliefs and their own economic values.
Mukbar Singh, Vice President of the World Sikh Organization of Canada, coming to us from Ottawa. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me on.